Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're really getting into something today that's kind of shaken up the NFL world, even before the season's properly started.
Yeah, it's a big one.
We're talking about Maxwell Hairston, a name that was, well, really climbing fast. People were calling him the next big star.
Absolutely. A lot of hype.
Yeah, he's this 21-year-old cornerback, right?
Yeah.
First-round pick for the Buffalo Bills, had the talent, the momentum. I mean, everything seemed lined up for him as the NFL season gets closer.
The trajectory was definitely upwards.
But then, well, just as that pro career looked set to really take off, everything just screeched to a halt.
It really did.
He's now facing this really dark accusation, something from his college days, and it throws up this huge dilemma, doesn't it? It's a potential gut punch.
Yeah.
Could his whole career be done before it even properly begins?
And that's precisely what we're aiming to do in this deep dive. We're going to unpack the details. There's a civil lawsuit filed against Hairston, focusing on an alleged incident back in 2021.
He was a student then, University of Kentucky. So our goal here is really to sift through what information is out there, pull out the key details, the important bits, and give you some real insight into what's actually at stake.
Right. So for you listening in, we're going to try and explore those central questions everyone's asking now. Like, why is this surfacing now?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we know about what supposedly happened that night? And yeah, the big one, could this Ricky's career genuinely be over before he plays a single down?
This is, well, it's the story of the league just didn't see coming.
Not at all.
So, the lawsuit. It lays out a pretty disturbing account. The woman, her identity is protected. She alleges Hairston came into her dorm room uninvited. She was alone. She claims she told him no, that she objected, even tried physically pushing him away, but this is he didn't stop. She describes it as a night that, well, basically changed her life. An alleged assault that she says left her emotionally broken, still dealing with the trauma years later. And what's really puzzling about this, looking back, is the initial lack of public action. Back in 2021, after this alleged incident, there were no public criminal charges filed, no arrest record we know of, and the university, well, there wasn't any known investigation launched by them either.
But she says she reported it.
That's what she states, yes.
Yeah.
That she did report it at the time. But the story has only really come back, and louder than ever, now that Hairston's name is, blowing up in the NFL.
So that timing question, why now? Why wait until 2025 to bring this to court? That's got to be the first thing people ask. What's her legal team saying about that?
Well, they're pretty clear on it. They argue this is not about getting attention. They frame it purely as being about accountability.
Okay.
Their point is that, time passing doesn't make the pain go away.
Yeah.
And in fact, his rising fame might actually sort of magnify the impact of what she alleges happened. It's not entirely unusual, actually, in civil cases. Well, the statute of limitations for civil actions can be quite long, much longer than for many criminal charges. And sometimes it just takes years for someone, a survivor, to feel ready or, frankly, empowered enough to come forward legally, especially when the person they're accusing gains a significant public profile.
That makes sense as an argument for the timing, but I'm guessing there are critics looking at it very differently.
Oh, absolutely. That's the immediate counter-argument you hear. The critics jump right on those questions. Why wait 4 years? And maybe more pointedly, why file a civil suit? Why not push for criminal charges?
Right, that difference is key, isn't it? Civil versus criminal.
It's crucial, and it really gets to the heart of how these things are handled differently. A civil lawsuit, like this one, it's essentially a dispute between private parties. It's often about seeking damages, monetary compensation, or maybe an injunction. And critically, the burden of proof is lower, typically preponderance of the evidence, meaning more likely than not.
Okay, so easier to prove than in a criminal case.
Generally, yes. Criminal charges are brought by the state, by the government.
Yeah.
The goal there is punishment fines, probation, even jail time, and the burden of proof is much, much higher, beyond a reasonable doubt. So for someone making an allegation, especially years later, a civil suit might seem like a more achievable path to getting some form of validation or financial recourse, even if the state isn't pursuing criminal charges.
Understood. Meanwhile, you've got Hairston's side, his attorneys. They're not holding back.
No, they're coming out swinging. They're calling the lawsuit false, opportunistic, and a direct attack on his character.
Right.
Their position is clear, he's done nothing wrong, and they're confident the truth will come out. But as you know, in the court of public opinion, silence or even just waiting for the legal process, that's rarely seen as neutral, is it?
No, it really isn't, which puts the Buffalo Bills in just an incredibly difficult situation.
A terrible spot, yeah. Their dilemma is stark, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you stand by your high-profile rookie, trust the legal process will sort it out? Or do you try and distance the team, protect the franchise's image?
And nowadays, everything is under a microscope.
Everything. It's fascinating in a way how fast public scrutiny hits. In today's NFL, every single move, every statement, or lack of statement, it's watched, dissected, and judged instantly. A team's brand, their reputation, it's hugely important.
That really is an unenviable position for the Bills front office. But how much of their decision-making do you think is driven by potential legal liability versus just managing the PR fallout? Can a team realistically just wait and see anymore with social media the way it is?
That's the million, maybe billion-dollar question for franchises now. Legally, they'll be advised, of course, but the immediate pressure, that's almost entirely about optics, about public trust, about the sponsors, the fan base. So the Bills, or any team in this spot, they're weighing that potential backlash if they look like they're dismissing serious allegations. But on the flip side, there's the risk of damaging the career of a player who might ultimately be cleared. It's a real tightrope walk, no easy answers.
And it feels like we've been here before. This isn't the first time, sadly, that a really promising young athlete faces something this serious right as their career is launching.
No, it's a recurring pattern, unfortunately.
And what strikes me is that in every single one of these cases, the outcome, it's never just about the legal finding, is it? It becomes this cultural flashpoint.
Absolutely. It taps into much bigger societal conversations.
Yeah, and you see that split among fans. It's fascinating. You've got one camp strongly defending the presumption of innocence, due process fundamental principles.
Crucial principles, yeah.
But then on the other side, there's this growing awareness and demand for accountability, especially for survivors. And maybe a sense that the NFL, given its own complicated history with these issues, needs to take it more seriously. People saying they've seen this too many times before to ignore it again. It really is like a microcosm of these broader debates playing out.
It absolutely is. And right now, Maxwell Hairston himself. Well, he's been silent publicly. No interviews, nothing beyond the headlines and his lawyer's statements, okay? And the woman, whose identity is protected, she's essentially letting the lawsuit be her voice for now. Her side emphasizes this isn't about the NFL, it's not about his career, it's about what she alleges happened that night. A night, she says, changed her life, something she never consented to.
So looking ahead, this legal process, it's going to be lengthy, right?
Oh, almost certainly. We're talking depositions, witness statements, gathering evidence. It could easily drag on for months, maybe longer.
But the impact, that's already happened.
Exactly. It's crucial for you to remember that the damage, potentially to both sides, is already unfolding.
Yeah.
Reputation, stress, public scrutiny, that's all in motion right now. This isn't just a courtroom battle confined to legal arguments.
It's that public reckoning idea.
Precisely. It's where public opinion, media coverage, social media reactions, they all play a huge role, sometimes forming judgments long before any legal verdict is reached.
Wow. It really leaves us, and you listening, with so many complex questions, doesn't it? And just no easy answers in sight. It's this tangle of a personal legal fight and this massive public event affecting everyone involved in ways we probably don't even fully grasp yet.
Yeah, someone involved in covering this put it starkly, saying Maxwell Hairston was supposed to be a name remembered for interceptions and touchdowns. But now, his future may depend on what happens in a courtroom, not on a football field. And maybe the most haunting part of all this, that underlying idea that the truth, whatever that truth actually is, it probably won't stay buried forever, one way or another.
So maybe a final thought for you to take away and consider. In a world like ours now, where really serious allegations can surface years after the fact, and where public opinion often rushes to judgment way before the legal system does its work, what does it really mean for truth to come out? How do we as a society balance that vital need for accountability with the equally vital principle of due process? Especially when fame, like in this case, just magnifies every single detail. Something to think about.